Oh, oh
I about
yes, everybody,
I literally
welcome
just about drowned right then.
to another episode of the Can-Am Connection with the Iceberg Tim Tomac. You got the Swiss Army Knife Nathan. You got Sexton Hardcastle, Ryan Espy, and your boy Chocolate Thunder. We are here. We are live. Magnificent Monday, guys.
Yeah, allegedly.
The topic. The topic that's probably going to spike this thing, as she's already there. So we're talking about the Hall of Fame, right? What are the qualifications? And I mean, before we get there, they're on different levels because you got the World Hall of Fame, known world around. You got your country, you got your regions, and then you got your states/provinces. And I think when you have all those, they kind of separate themselves in different, things like that. So, Tim, we'll start with you because you and I do our own Hall of Fame in the Pacific Northwest. From world, country, region, state, or province, in your opinion, what do you think are the qualifications for someone to be in the Hall of Fame?
I mean, kind of how we do ours. Like we look at a few factors. One, time in the sport. Obviously, it's about putting in your time. It's not something you just get from being 3, 4, 5 years in the sport, right? So one's time, and then you move into your accolades. What have you done? Is it something you've done in Vancouver, Washington, or is it something you've done around the world, right? So that's a big factor of too. Is it's people that go out there and get what they want, right, and chase something. And then 3 is just kind of like when you did go out there, what did you achieve? So I think that's 3 of the biggest ones. We also look like when we do ours that we talk about a lot. We do what was your impact on the sport? That's kind of like our final one. That what was your impact? Like how did you start a club? Do you keep running a club? Do you teach people? All those different things. And I think that just going off of Jody, the ones that we've done, you can pick out each person, and they've kind of done their own accolades. At the end of the day, their common denominator was like they had an impact on the sport, and an impact maybe locally, impact maybe globally, but they've all had their own sort of impact on the sport. And I think that that's one of the big factors as well is like, what have they done for the sport? And it doesn't have to be they started a massive league or they fucking brought money into the league, whatever, right? It's just, it could be Jacob Abbott. He's ran the same practice on the same nights at the same place for 26 years in a row. I mean, that's incredible. The people that have turned through that, I'll call club, is incredible. The people that he's helped build into where they're at, right? And the world champions that have actually went on vacation to go pull, or just not even vacation, just hit them up and said, hey, I got this match at East versus West. Can I come up and train at your club, and make the trip themselves out of their own pocket, knowing that's a great place to go train with 40 plus people 2 nights a week and the caliber of training you're going to get. So just speaking, because he was our last one, just going off of him, it's incredible. So for me, it's those factors that we look at and we take seriously, and that's how we came up with ours.
There you go. And I'm excited about Tim and I. You and I, we're going to talk later about 2026. I have an idea, and I got some things kind of changed, and you and I got to rap about this after the show, possibly.
Yeah.
Well, the only Hall of Famer right now on this show, in this room right here, is the guy to the bottom right-hand corner, Mr. SB. You're a bona fide Canadian Hall of Famer. So for you, what is your qualifications?
That is a tricky question. Weird. I got a Happy Canada Day text just now, which is bizarre. Because we're not even close.
I was gonna say it's not Canada Day yet. It's
I
Groundhog
fucked that
Day.
up last week, so move on.
That's going to be a running joke now.
The
Well,
original,
dude, I was literally on Facebook and somehow I mistaked Australia for Canada. I don't know why. I don't know. Maybe I was just tired, but it is what it is.
Hungover. Oh.
No, man. I don't really drink much anymore. So
It was a joke, Tim. Jesus Christ.
so you gotta. That's a complicated answer to a simple question. What is the criteria? Well, when the original Canadian Arm Wrestling Federation Hall of Fame came in, there's kind of like the recognition that's nearly Hall of Fame level, and Macho Man Arm Wrestling. Well, we should have a match.
Anyway, you talk about you or Ryan Boussier?
Oh, Ryan
he just got on there too.
Okay, yes. So the original thing was there was either as a competitor or as a builder, and then there was the unofficial recognition that was sort of like a Hall of Fame, but it was just the John Miazdick Award winners. And when I don't say just that, you got one of them per year, so it was a huge accolade to get, but it was based on the previous year, so it didn't really count. But it could be used as a later criteria to get into the Hall of Fame. You consider the sum of the entire career. So I'll use Lise Blanchard as an example. She has never accomplished anything as a competitor, but she was a pillar of Canadian arm wrestling as far as the organizational side. Kathy Morrison's another one. These people that are builders that came in and changed the sport, hung around, put in the work, ran the nationals, were involved with WAF. And then it comes to the point where you're considering their career. You're not looking at them as a competitor. You're looking at them as a builder. Some people cross both lines. Myself, I was a competitor, and I had run a couple of national championships and was president of an association for over a decade. And, the list goes on and on. It's not as simple as saying you have to have this, this, and this to be in the Hall of Fame. You have to consider the sum of everything. And we get lots of nominations that come in where it says, well, this person was a national champion. Well, that's fair, and that's an amazing accomplishment. And that should put them as a first ballot Hall of Famer in their province, but it doesn't necessarily ensure that they will be in a national Hall of Fame. Gotcha. There are 3 people that actually decide this every year. We take the nominations, we consider them, and we pick a few, and we make that decision at the end of March. But there is always a 4th man. There's always a 4th man that we consult before we ever go to that decision, and that, of course, is Eric Roussin. And he will vet.
He's the encyclopedia.
He will vet everyone for accuracy on their nomination before we ever get to that decision-making process. And he will point blank tell me, like, I don't believe this person has done enough to be considered into the National Hall of Fame, or he would say that's an excellent choice. And largely that recommendation carries more weight than just about anything, including the nomination that's written. So it's not as simple as, and we're also talking about accomplishments at the level of the sports that we're considering. So when you talk about guys that went on to have these amazing professional careers, that doesn't necessarily translate back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not, when you're considering an amateur sports organization, you're looking at.
Speaking of Hall of Famer, the Merrimaid.
There you go. You're looking at things like longevity, titles at levels, involvement with the Canadian Arm Wrestling Federation, WAF. IFA now will be a future consideration. It probably doesn't carry much weight yet, and maybe it won't. Who knows? But that's what we're looking at right now. And we have lots of guys that, and then they're saying the Hall of Fame criteria always gets stricter as the sport evolves. It will, and you try to keep it to 3-ish per year in Canada. Otherwise, you just, like, there's so many people. And we try to pick somebody that's like a legacy person, like their family member is showing up 2 generations removed, because that person may not be with us anymore. So
true.
plus,
You also
there's
got to
so
take that
much.
into consideration also.
Yeah, we don't have a Hall of Fame in Manitoba yet, but we've been talking about putting one together because there's so many people that deserve to be recognized. Like we have not a huge amount of world champions, but there's a few. And we have so many guys that have gone on and won several national titles. They were builders in their own province. Yeah. So that's an interesting topic, Raul, because I know exactly what you're saying. But when you consider that the best things that a person might accomplish haven't happened yet, it's not really appropriate to put someone that is just starting what is going to be a legendary career into a Hall of Fame. Like you didn't put Michael Jordan into the Hall of Fame when he won his first title because you knew he was going to have an amazing career. You waited. It's kind of like the stamp. And I've actually had interactions with people that deserve to be in the Hall of Fame and have said to me, not yet.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make mine short and simple because I know when I get to Nathan, he's probably gonna ignite this whole conversation. He'll get a bunch of comments in there. So I'm on the same, wavelength with Tim, only because Tim and I put together the Northwest Hall of Fame every year in December, and also Tim does one in Arizona too. I guess the first thing I would like to say is accolades. Obviously, I like to break it down in different sections because you have your world renowned. Like you can throw, I'll say a John Brzezinski or Andre Pushkar, that would be a world. If it was like a country, then you would go, okay, now we can widen the list a little bit more. Then you would add, for example, Devin Laird or whatever, or something like that as an example. And then if you go region, you can widen out a little bit more, and you could just say, oh, I don't know, maybe Tim Bresnan in the Northeast. And then when you go widen just a little bit further, and you go province and state, you can say, like we said, Jacob Abbott. You could say, Marlon Hicks, for example. Things of that nature. When you do that, you kind of widen horizons. But yes, I would say accolades. I would say, time in the sport. What have you done with the sport? Things of that nature. For me, I got probably one of the best awards you can get, the Bill Sobranis Award, sitting right there on my wall over there. And we all know any arm wrestler should know about Bill Sobranis, right? So he has a statue of himself, in Petaluma. So for me, that was cool to get, and I got that last year, and just being a part of the sport. What do you, like Tim said, what do you give back to the sport? It's more than just, I've done 20 years and, did a, amateur event, but you pull once or twice a year, but you do it for 20 years. That doesn't really get you anywhere. It's all about, wins, like what kind of pinpoint a win you had to put in that feather in your cap, things of that nature. So to me, it all depends on what level we're talking about. And then you can kind of go, okay, I could put this person in, because a person that can get in on a regional standpoint or a state standpoint may not necessarily get into a world, aspect of it. So that's me. It's just different tiers, different levels. Now, Nathan, I'm going to give it to you because I know what you're going to say is going to maybe rub people the wrong way, but go ahead. Go for it.
Can I mention one thing before Nathan gets everyone fired up?
Yeah.
Do you guys remember Merle Meter's Hall of Fame?
I remember him, but I don't remember the situation, though.
He came up with a Hall of Fame that's still out there. He passed away, but it was he did it personally. He was a strength writer. I think this was something to do with Iron Mind at the time.
Yes.
But he actually had written up a Hall of, Denise will have it for sure. I've got a copy of it somewhere. But he put in like a few guys in each of the current WAF categories that there were. And it was his Hall of Fame, and it was published, and it was kind of a cool thing. And he stuck me in there in 2003, right after I won the Worlds for the second time.
There you go.
Yeah.
See that? I love it. Williamson.
Piss everybody off, please.
Well, I mean, for me, like if you said build a Hall of Fame, it would be like, okay, there would be different things. The first thing I would look at for if you said a Hall of Fame right now is world titles. When I say world titles, I'm talking true world titles. I'm talking WAF world titles. I'm not
You're
talking
not
about
talking
those.
about the Mohegan Sun?
No, I'm talking true WAF world titles, the hardest tournament in the world to win. Simple as that. There is no other world title that isn't a WAF world title. I don't care what anybody says.
Let
You
me
can
ask you a
hate
question
me.
before you go on. Would you consider a series of high-level finishes at that same Worlds without ever getting gold if they had like a ton of like silver, bronzes, and were consistent?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Because it's all based upon strength of category, right? Like if you take let's use Push Car's run where he won 6 straight right-handed, 5 straight left-handed. Like that was the best arm wrestler on planet Earth at that physical time. Just because you pull the 110 plus class and you're getting second Push Car consistently doesn't mean you're less of a puller. It just means you're going up against the absolute world beater at the time, right? Um, and that's going through all weight classes. That's not talking just open weight, because then we can look at LeBron's 5-year run and winning it left-handed for 5 straight years too, which is he's the only other person besides Pushkar to do that. And then for me, like you have other aspects of the Hall of Fame is like, okay, what has a person done in the sport? Obviously longevity, stuff like that. For me, longevity doesn't necessarily mean everything, if I'm being honest. Yeah, you just because you went across 5 decades doesn't truly mean anything to me. Cool, you've been around a long time. But at the same time, it's like, what have you done with your 5 decades? Right? Are you still a viable member? I don't even want to say the community because I mean, let's be honest. Are you still viably doing things in arm wrestling over your 5 decades? No, okay, but you've been there 5 decades and you show up once in a blue moon. Does that really mean anything? No. Let's be honest. And then you get somebody like John who revolutionized the sport, right? Obviously, John would be a first ballot Hall of Famer, same way as Pushkar would be a first ballot Hall of Famer. They've revolutionized things. So for me, like there's certain things I would look at and certain things I honestly don't give two shits about when it comes to Hall of Fame.
Woo!
So what would you say about like a state or a region Hall of Fame? Would that be
states
WFA
totally totally different.
Would that
State
be,
would
or
be
would you go off of like state titles because
yeah,
it's
exactly. State you're looking at guys like who have helped revolutionize the sport within their state, right? Like Jacob Abbott. You know what I mean? Like that's a great example. Somebody that helped revolutionize arm wrestling for the Pacific Northwest, right? Same way with like Dan. Let's use Danny as an example. Gillian. To me, Danny is a Hall of Famer in the state of Texas. He's been doing it 40 plus years, still extremely active, competes all over the world. I mean, he's helped revolutionize Texas arm wrestling. You know what I mean? Like, so my state, local, provincial criteria isn't as strenuous as what I would consider like a world Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Right. That's World Hall of Fame to me is like, okay, what have you done worldwide, internationally? Like, to me, it's like, oh, you have XYZ, but you've never done anything else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, why would I? But here's my thing. Why would I put somebody in a World Hall of Fame? And this is the question for you guys. Why would somebody go into a World Hall of Fame if they've never competed internationally?
Right. I mean, you got to. Would you also take like obviously push guards, the John Brzinks, right? The people that are, one's passed away, obviously, but he's there, right? One's still around. But you look at one step further when we talk about revelation and all that stuff. Like in the Northwest, we got Steve Phipps. He's done things that people have never done. He was the first ever Triple Crown winner. He was 30-something times. I mean, you look at what he's done, sometimes surpasses what some of these other people have done, but maybe they're just more recognizable now with the internet and not, so it's kind of.
Well, I mean, like, I know who Steve is. Like, people that know arm wrestling are going to know who arm wrestlers are. Obviously, the internet has made people honestly stupid. And like they think they know it, but they truly don't. They see what is on YouTube and stuff like that. But if we go back through like some of the like Cleve Dean winning a title in '94, people probably don't know he won a WAF world title.
Yeah.
Here, I'll give you another one, Nathan. How about Eric Waffel, right? How many people, and I know outside of California, Benji Mac, calm down. How many people outside of California know about Eric Waffel? We're talking about a guy who won WAF Worlds. He's won the WWC, the Risk Wrestling Championships in Petaluma. He's won the Russian Golden Bear a few times. So, but how many people know about him? And, you know, it's like Tim says, the sport has evolved where it's all social media based, you know, where it's like there's some legends back in the day that was doing some honest, awesome stuff. But
that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm like, you know, us who those of us that are historians that have been following the sport forever know like these people. The people that are just coming into the sport now that just know this person would be like, well, this person deserves it because of this, or this person would be it because of this. Okay, but still, what about these people that were doing this stuff back in the 80s and the 90s that you don't even know who they are?
I got one for everybody real quick because it should be able to be answered very quick. And I'll start. Who is your Mount Rushmore?
Oh, okay.
I'll start.
Our top four. Go ahead.
I'm going John Brzezinski.
Okay.
I'm going Johnny Walker. I'm going Devin Larratt and Steve Phipps. Those are mine. And that's totally based off of the world. What did they accomplish throughout the world? Those are mine.
Shit, that's a tough one, man, because Mount Rushmore's only room for 4, and it's like, damn, that's for me, it's not easy. For you, it might be easy. For me, it's not. I had to sit there and really think. I mean, 2 of them I can say for sure.
Sorry, I'll back up. There is one where if I had to switch them out, and I could on any given Sunday, I could switch out Johnny for Ingen.
That's the thing, you know. Because I'm thinking, what about this person? What about that person? You know what I mean? So it's rough.
Go ahead. Anybody got another one? Spit one out. Let's hear it.
Come on, SB. What you got?
I would put Dave Hicks on my Mount Rushmore. Like, without thinking about it hard at all. He would be a guy that I'd put on there for sure. John, obviously. You got to consider Ron Bath for the Mount Rushmore. You have to. If John Brzezinski never existed, we would be talking about Ron Bath like we talk about John Brzezinski.
I would agree.
Fair.
And this is going like way back. No, it does not disqualify him. But if you want to be technical about it, I don't think I've ever received a nomination. So just responding to the chat. And the 4th guy, oh man. I have to think about it.
Yeah. Good.
Two of mine are easy, but the other 2 are the ones where I'm like,
You want me to go since you're thinking?
Three are pretty easy.
I can help them out. All of Team Latvia.
No, it's actually there's not a Latvian on it. Thank you very much.
Here, I'll go and then
not a Latvian.
It almost seems like if this Mount Rushmore was 4, you basically only need 3 because I think everybody's going to put John up there, right? I think it's safe to say. So I would go, and we're talking international world, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I would say John. I would say Cobra Rhodes. I would say Ingen, and I would say Pushkar. And I'll give you why. I think John pretty much self-explanatory, right? What he did for the sport, putting it on the map, and his dominance. I would say Cobra, you know, for a guy internationally, I mean, he was kicking people's ass international level. Whatever country he went to, he was just dominant. You know, Ingen, same thing, you know, just dominant in his own right, you know. And then Pushkar for his dominance in that window. And it didn't matter where he competed, WAF, PAL, whatever. You know, wasn't he number 1 on both hands at one time at the same time? Yeah, so I mean, right there.
6 years. Yeah, for almost 6 years.
So for me, even though, and I can wake up the next day, tomorrow, and have a different 4. Well, maybe different 3. You see what I'm saying? So it's hard. But for me, my Mount Rushmore would be John, Ingen, Cobra, Pushkar.
John and Pushkar just, to me, it's you have to have them. And this is obviously for mine. I would put Ingen just because the Angry Turk has done insane things, and there for the longest time nobody could beat him at any weight class for that matter.
Look who's joining us, folks.
Oh, you dirty bastard.
Yeah, I sent them the link. Because I would love this gentleman's perspective. We're talking about Hall of Fame.
Well, Nate,
yeah, I'm glad you're filling me in on that, mate, because I have literally just stopped training with Terry Hollands and Rob Frampton, two of the Titan House lads, and I'm beat to bits just letting them trying to instruct them to jump on my bloody hand. So I haven't caught any of the show at all. I picked up Jody's message and I thought I better get my ass in there because like 3 times you've sent it and I ain't been able to join.
Well, right now we're saying who our Mount Rushmore is, our 4 on Mount Rushmore.
Okay. Well,
Tim, go ahead, Neil.
Well, okay, so I mean, Ryan asked me threw me through a fucking loop here, because
who have you got to now? Who's on yours?
I think he's right. I do think he's right. John and Steve Phipps.
Can you give me the criteria, mate? That you've got who you've gone from? Why? So John, obviously, because he's John.
I think it's just, for me, it's just looking at what they've done, not only where they're at, but just around the world, and how long they dominated that for. What was their accolades? Just how they changed a little bit. Did they change a little bit of the sport? Who did I say? Steve.
John.
And I'm probably going to change it up now because I'm a dick. I am going to say Dave Hicks and then Ingen. I'm going to do those now.
So I had 3, Neil. I had picked John, Dave Hicks, Ron Bath, and I hadn't gone any further yet.
And I picked. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I picked John Brzink, Ingen Terzi, Cobra Rhodes, Andre Pushkar.
And see, I had 3 of those. I had John, Pushkar, and Ingen, and I'm not sure on my 4th yet.
What you got, Neil?
See, it's always, for me with this, it's always who you're picking and why. It's the criteria for why.
Well, the reason for Pushkar is like nobody's ever done what he did in the open weight category at WAF, winning 5 straight on the left and right. Like, that's such an incredible feat. I mean, realistically, he won 6 years straight right-handed, 5 years straight left-handed, and was 10 world titles in 5 years, which is
mental. You're saying nobody's done that?
In the 110 plus, nobody's ever done it.
For me, there's a frailty right there. Go on, Tim.
Well, I mean, you can go to the women, right? How many years did Gabby do it? And then
since she was a child, then
you can move on.
I'm also looking at his what he did in super matches too, and the PAL and everything else, and top 8.
Because I want to say at one point, I don't have the correct number, but I want to say Krasny, I thought, had like 4 or 5 in a row.
95 or 100, I think, but never at the 110.
No.
See, I actually think that's not a downside though. That's an upside, because for me, the supers is a way easier class than the middleweights. I just believe it is, because and the ladies the same. The ladies is a way easier class. If you want my honest opinion on that, I think the hardest classes in the world are from 70 kilos to 100 kilos. Yeah, and why is because most dudes are 70 kilos to 100 kilos. And if you refined it further, I'd say 75 to 90s is even harder.
Yeah, I was
because look at those classes. Just look at the depth. You can see the depth. It's massive.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, if you're getting like
5 kg this year had 31 people in it, I want to say.
And 75 kg, 80 kg, 85 kg, always been ridiculous depth, ridiculous ability. Because you've got the best of both worlds, haven't you? So the guys that excelled in there, well, I mean, John, obviously John's John, but John also started as an 85 kilo puller and went up to dominate the world in the supers, dominate the world in any weight class, regardless of weight class. And that's what makes him special. But coming below John, it gets much more tricky. It gets much more tricky because there's a lot of guys that would enter that fray. Then you start, there's nuance and there's nuance and there's nuance. Are you talking guys that you think were enhanced or guys that were 99% natural? Are you talking about guys that did it for the longest number of years or highest peak? Hard, isn't it?
I can tell you, Neil, why I picked Ron Bath. And it's simply because if John never existed, we'd probably be talking about Ron the same way we talk about John.
I absolutely love Ron, but I don't believe that you can categorize him in the same way that you can with John. And the reason why is because Ron's a naturally bigger man, just a bigger human being than John is, and also didn't go through the weight divisions in the same way that John did and didn't reach that same peak that John did. I don't believe anybody has. I genuinely don't. I think that under scrutiny, I don't believe anybody's ever done that in that same way to get so that they're the open champion of the world from a lower base. That's why, a lot of guys may have, if you look at the absolute pinnacle, then you've got to make a case for someone like Levan, haven't you? Because does the man represent the absolute pinnacle that the sport's ever seen? I believe he probably does.
But if there was no John, like if because every time you can have this conversation with a normal arm wrestler, the first person everybody's going to say is John. So if there was never a John,
I don't know if they'd say that nowadays, though.
Yeah, but who would your John be if there was never a John? Like, so if we had this conversation, that no matter what, that would be the first guy you said. Who would that be?
Yeah, I think you've got to go into a rare air of some other athletes that have been supremely dominant in the WAF environment. You mentioned Engin Terzi. Is Engin in that conversation? Yeah. Is Rustam Babayev in that conversation? Yeah. Is, Svetan Gashevsky in that conversation? Yeah. You might say, is Giannis Amelins in that conversation? For me, yeah. I rate Giannis very, very highly for a number of reasons. I think he's technically magnificent. I think that you've got guys that are now very interesting in that regard. I think Mindaugas Terasaitis is an exceptional arm wrestler in that regard. He's getting very, very good. So it's what your criteria is, and it'll become very personal very quick.
Yeah. Yes. Hey, guys, I want to get this comment out. From CBLA says, if Devin isn't on like the Mount Rushmore, the mountain is a gimmick. Most polarizing person in rubber of the sport than anyone. So I just want to touch base on that. He is correct.
For me, Devin is absolutely on my Mount Rushmore of arm wrestling without any shadow of a doubt whatsoever. For a massive number of, he's as nailed on as John in my world, because how many criteria has he got to pick? You're ticking boxes like beyond belief. Number one, he was a lighter man that has been exceptional at different weight classes and shown that throughout. But ultimately, if you're talking about the absolute upper echelon, he's probably, certainly, in my opinion, represents the top 3 to 5 of all time, any weight, in terms of the level that he's attained. I think he's technically exceptional and he's technically adventurous and pioneering. He's a torchbearer in that regard. I think he's importance and relevance for the sport and the growth of the sport from where he started in arm wars through to now has been unquestionable. I think he's got a charm and an endearing charisma, which is probably unmatched. His everyman nature, traveling the world, engaging arm wrestlers, bringing people to arm wrestling, in my opinion, from an arm wrestler perspective, outweighs anybody that I've ever encountered in the sport. So for me, Devon might not be one of the names carved into the mountain. He might be the fucking mountain. He's definitely right there in that respect. I don't care whether you love Devon or hate Devon. You'd have to pay him that kind of respect because his influence is undeniable. It's the same way that there'll be guys out there that are probably like, I don't like Engin Terzi. And fair enough, Engin's done some things that won't endear a lot of people, for sure. But you cannot question his abilities as an arm wrestler. If we're talking about can the kid arm wrestle?
Insanely well.
Motherfucker.
Oh yeah.
The only reason, if taking all personal biases out of this,
Oh shit.
I'm taking them out. I'm taking them out, Nathan. Jesus. So the only hesitation I have is the hill of Levon that he just that's the only guy that I think stands in the way of me throwing him on there, cementing him on there. And if he gets over that, he may be undeniable now. But if he gets over that, he's not deniable by anybody.
What criteria would anybody qualify, though, for Ryan? I mean, there is no undefeated. There is no one.
No, there is no one, but, there
isn't.
Levon,
I mean, people have thrown all sorts
as close
of
to undefeated as you can get.
Scott Norton's lost. I know Scott. I've been in the room when Scott Norton's lost.
Yeah, but nobody, essentially, Levon is undefeated. You can say, yeah, he took a loss this many years ago, whatever. At the moment, in several years, he is essentially undefeated.
And here's a question for you. Hey, and I'm a massive Levon fan, all right? Levon, and I've got to stop calling him Levon.
It's Levin.
Yeah,
Levin,
he's called
whatever.
Levin. Saganashvili, that he'll tell you. So God knows why I've been drawn into that shit. It's called Levin. So anyway, how many times has he competed?
In the past 2 years, 3 times.
Well,
Okay, how many times has Dev competed?
Hey, Devin's he's
more than
probably
6.
the most.
See, I don't think that's a fair comparison because you have the guy at the peak of the mountain and you've got all the guys trying to get to the peak. So
Devon's pretty close to that peak, Ryan. He's pretty close to that peak.
That's all I'm saying. There's still that one
himself
guy
from it to make himself more accessible, if you will. And that is what really happens. I mean, if there was a category, if he could disable himself a little bit to allow him to pull more, he'd do it. Because he's so friggin'... I'm not blaming Levin for that at all. But he's kind of like that guy. Mike Todd's like that as well. If you said to Mike, okay, Mike, you can't compete with Levin, what are you going to do? I'll go to another weight class where I can. He would go there.
Yep.
And it's hard for me to... personally, I can't... It's very, very difficult for me to just categorize a dude as... Well, he's standalone in that regard. If you look at it from purely arm wrestling, I can't do that. Why I can't do that is I see all the nuance and I see all the reality and I can't ignore it. I simply can't. So if you tell me, oh, this guy's immeasurably better than that guy, I call bullshit. I just do.
I got a question just because I have a fucking question. If arm wrestling was to be, and I'll just talk super matches only. We'll talk East versus West for the sake of It's the number one thing right now. If East versus West was like the UFC, where you can only be max at a 275 pounds, you can't be more than that. That's the top that you can be. Who would be our number one? Would Levon be able to be 275 and be?
Tim,
we would never have heard of him.
Tim, UFC's 265, but
It's 265. Yeah.
Well, I thought it was 275. Well, for the sake of what I'm talking about, arm wrestling, I'm giving 10 more fucking pounds because they're going to weight cut. Okay.
You want to know why? You want to know why it's 265 though? Because the guys over 265 are terrible.
Yeah, they can't move.
That's not the.
But I'm just saying, I'm serious. Like, if we were to have that, right? Like, if we were to have, you can't. I'll just say for the sake of the fucking argument, 300 pounds. You can't be over 299.9 in arm wrestling. What would arm wrestling supers look like tomorrow?
I think the rankings would be the same with one guy missing.
Yeah, it'd be Devin number one, Levon not on the rankings.
So not saying they can't get down there, not saying the Georgies.
No, but I think if Levon loses, if Levin loses 100 pounds, he's losing a lot.
So we're saying that. So we're saying that he's winning because of weight.
No, I'm saying he's winning because he's just immeasurably stronger than a lot of people, and his sheer frame enables him to do that. It has nothing to do with weight. I mean, yes, he is a massive human being, but if we're going weight, then Georgie should have beat Michael, but Michael beat Georgie.
So I'm just saying.
What Levin is, he's complete, isn't he?
Yeah. He's very good technically. He can pull in any position. He can hook. He can top full. He can press, and he's just remarkably that much stronger than everybody else.
And he moves so well and so quickly.
Yes.
For a man so big, with all if you look what it is he's the package, isn't he? He's got more of a package than most.
Yeah.
Is that made easier by the fact that he's stronger than everybody else? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, but that's how we look at him. We look at Levon as the strongest guy out there, which is true. However, to me, I mean, except for the five of us up here and maybe a few in the chat, throughout the whole world, people don't give him the credit that he deserves as far as his technical aspect and his knowledge on the table and all that. People don't see that. They just see he's big and strong and outpowers everybody. He's probably technical as more than anybody.
All you have to do is look at round one with their last match with Devin and Levin. Levin knew that if he was going to go sideways in that position, center of the table, that his wrist was going to be compromised. So what did he do? He stood there, kept his pronation engaged, waited a little bit, and then transitioned straight to the press. Why did he go to the press? Because it took Devin's arm to the elastic limit. After that, the match was over. Devin's arm had already been completely stretched out, and it was just easy after that. But it was a smart thinking on Levin's part because he knew in that position that his wrist was compromised. So he went to plan B or plan C, whichever one it was for him.
And to piggyback on that, look what he did with Jerry. Okay, Jerry, he likes to flop everybody. I'm going to grab you so low that you're going to flop right into my strength and my hand and stuff. And Jerry couldn't slip out. He couldn't do nothing. That's because he had a game plan. He's smarter than people give him credit for. He's
very technical.
So here's a question back at you. Are you ready? Here's one for you, and this will throw the cat right among the pigeons.
Uh-oh.
Here we go. You want a hard one to answer? Here we go. This is a fucking hard one. What about if your best arm wrestler of all time had to be natural? And you had to absolutely go out and you believed that this person was completely unenhanced. Who would your top three arm wrestlers be then? Top four arm wrestlers be then? Who would they be?
Ooh.
Got five.
I put Dave Patton in there for one.
Can you be sure of that though? That's the problem, Jody.
That's the thing. We can't be sure of anyone, but who would you think? Who do you think?
Some. I still think I still think it's John. I still think it's John Verzink.
You think it's pre PED John?
Yep.
So he's one.
I'm putting Mindy.
Well, this is why I raised that. If you start to look at guys that I do think there's some guys out there that I think it'd change things up greatly.
Yeah, I do too.
Alan Fisher, Eric
the guys in the lighter weight class.
I don't know that you can put Alan. I think Alan might have
We have
What about
a really
Eric
good,
Bell?
we have a really good sample size though of Levin from the WAF days. So
Well, he
you
was
could
still
make-
big.
Still big.
My-
You could make an argument.
Mine's still going to be Steve Phipps.
What about Bongard?
Kevin Bongard?
That man was. It changes
it makes
things
you think.
drastically, doesn't it?
I would say
Yeah, it
Pushkar
does.
is probably in there. And
Yeah,
we're
what about
talking
Andreas Lundstrom?
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, but it gets you thinking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mhm.
If you, the point that I'm making there is, and in a minute, Tim, you should say what you're going to say earlier because you're trying to get a point in phrases, and we'd move topic.
For what?
You were trying to make a point and you didn't, and I wondered what it was.
Yeah, Tim, what's the point?
Fuck, I don't remember.
Yeah, you've moved on. You've slept since. Fair enough.
What are we talking about? We talking about the weight cap still?
Yeah, you
No,
were.
we're talking about if somebody was not enhanced, would your Mount Rushmore pretty much be altered?
So I always just take a sample size of post 2005 WAF because that's when drug testing started. And I look at the guys that were dominating their classes. Well, it was still Pushkar. He might have been the guy if he had, never touched a PED. You look at that criteria, maybe it is Pushkar.
Yeah,
For me, they're all in the lighter classes. All of them.
Well, I think two of my guys still say the same between Dave Hicks and Steve Phipps.
Yeah.
I think that they were true. To be honest, I think my other two have always been true. So, I mean, 2 out of my 4 would still be the same.
What about Gashevsky?
Yeah.
Boom. There you go.
Yeah.
Right on cue there, Mr. Sheldon.
Well, we just had a message on that.
Yeah.
No, I didn't see that shit.
Yeah.
But everybody knows where I'm at on Svet, and I think
He's insane, incredibly good.
master arm wrestler. What about Lorenzo Villar from Spain?
See, and that's the thing.
Never
forget
gets
his
mentioned
name.
because he's small.
What about that, Neil? What's the Russian's name that was always in the 190, or he's either 100 kilos ish? They called him Babyface or something like that. What was his name?
Ibrahimov.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, good. Good pull. I wouldn't put him in that echelon. I mean, Ron Bath schooled him, but the criteria, whatever your judging criteria, and it becomes, as I say, it becomes very personal. Whatever your sort of personal preferences and judging criteria. If you're a fan and you just come into this game, you think the sport's just about super heavyweights, you're gonna go all super heavyweight. If you're a purist, and if you ask one of the ladies, it'd be like, "What the, get Lucky One's podcast on here and ask them." They're gonna go ladies.
If you're telling me I had to pick, there's so many. Like, in my opinion, Egla would be one of them because she's literally stopped competing at Worlds because there was no competition for her. The woman
But there was no competition. That's the point.
Yeah.
Well, the counter to that is, but your weight class over the years, it's like when I always remember Ronda Rousey, when Ronda Rousey was on an incredible tear. And, I remember Rogan once saying, Ronda Rousey's probably the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. And in my mind, I was thinking, look, I'm a massive Ronda Rousey fan, but I don't agree with that statement at all. And I don't think it's close. Because if you looked at the competitive set that she's against, not comparable. Just not comparable. And I think if you look into this with a really realistic lens, you do have to look at the extreme weight divisions as likely being easier, and they probably are, because the depth of talent and the talent pool is not as rich. And that's why you've seen so many guys progress from the middleweight divisions into upper echelon weight classes and still be real threats. And when we used to do the old champion of the champions and the open weight in the early WAFs, you'd often see guys from those classes doing really well at any weight. You've got guys that have come through, I've done it myself, and gone through to win overall titles all over the place, different countries. because you could. Because you were strong enough and big enough to do something. And a lot of the guys who've gone to that upper echelon, Gennady Quickvinia, Ernest Gasparini, John Brozink, and many more. I mean, Alajan Muratov, not the biggest man in the world, bad dude.
Yeah, started at 80 kilos.
Yeah. You know, you got a 100-kilo man in Vitaly Laletin. Bad dude.
95 kilos for Vitaly.
And for most men, for most guys in most categories, you go and arm wrestle against Daniel Prokopchuk. See how you get on.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, if we're talking about women, so Dot was great, but could she beat Vicky at the time?
What, Vika Gabakova?
Yeah.
In my opinion, Gabakova would have beaten Dot.
Then you've got Barb Zalepa, Barb Schlegel.
Arena Gladkaya.
Sarah Bachman.
I think
Heidi Anderson
on in Arena Gladkaya.
Do what?
Irina Gladkaya, the one you just named, is really strong. And Makieva.
Yeah. Scary.
Makieva, my God. Yeah, that's the girl right there.
Yeah.
What about Heidi Anderson?
Yeah, not Makieva good.
No, Makieva was insane. There was a reason people avoided her weight class.
Irina Makieva was the girl. If you're talking pound for pound, you know.
I forgot what her name was. I used to love watching her arm wrestle. Lisa Wolfley. Yeah, man.
Yeah, Wolfley.
She's badass.
I'm cheating a little bit. I'm looking up all the results of
Well, like I said, with Egla, right? Egla would have 40+ world titles had she chose to continue pulling WAF. Easily. But she realized there was no competition for her and was like, yeah, why am I going to keep wasting my time doing this, showing up and literally winning, but basically by default because there's nobody that can compete with her. I mean, yes, we look at Gabby's world titles and she has 30 whatever, but she never competed in the weight classes against Egla Bayakute and Makieva and these people too.
Mm-hmm. But a lot of the time you had to go across category for those girls to have a match.
Yes.
And in any of the extreme, in the female classes or any of the extreme weight classes, unfortunately, that is the reality of things. That's what's happened. Now, name me a year when the 75 kilo or 80 kilo at WAF wasn't a friggin'. I mean, you get to that situation where you stack enough killers in a weight class, it's going to be a battle of attrition.
Yeah.
You put enough killers. The old Yukon Jacks used to be like that. It was like the Grand National Horse Race. That if the fences are big enough and there's enough of them, people will fall.
What is it? What was a couple years ago at Worlds at 75 kilos? You had Daniel and Nerdalet and Azat and just like all these.
Mate, most years.
Yeah.
From the year most years when the other years the fringe weight categories would be easy, but never 75 kilo to 100. No, it'd always be stacked to the bridge because that's where everybody is.
Well, I got a two-part question here. We'll make this one fast. Jody, can you pop up Bob Anderson's comment?
I can't see the goddamn comments.
Okay, the comment is
Unger Bayev
was Unger Bayev natural. In your opinion?
In my opinion, personally?
Yeah.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. For the longest time.
Second part of my question is,
and if there was a sliding scale of natural, he's certainly below. He's down the bottom.
If my other part of the question is, because I think you'll have a good answer on this, if Bill Brzezinski arm wrestled as long as John, would he be better than John?
No.
Would we be talking about Bill?
No.
Because I've actually had quite a few people I call legends in the sport say yes.
No, they're jealous. No, that's bullshit. Yeah. Look, I love Bill, but I know Bill very well. I know John very well, and I knew him very well throughout that period of time.
Yeah.
No. John was the guy. There's a reason John was the guy. John was the guy. Bill was awesome.
Bill won some world titles.
The guy. Irakli Gurkiani actually beat Bill at the 20. If you went back to the World Championships in Virginia Beach, first time around, I'm going to say it was 1996. I got silver there. And Irakli Gurkiani from Georgia actually beat Bill Brzezinski. And if you want my honest opinion, when the finals came, there was a little bit of home cooking.
Wow.
No.
Hey, what's your plan? You tell me what you and mate, it is what it is. What it is. But do I believe that the best guy won that day? No, I don't. I think Gurkiani was probably the guy. I think that's happened a few times, and Bill had moments and times when he would have definitely beaten Irakli Gurkiani. Was it a close match? Really? And Bill was awesome, but he wasn't as good as John.
Yeah. All right.
So Dave Hicks, just FYI, 19 WAF golds.
Dude, Dave Hicks is one of the most underrated arm wrestlers that has ever drawn breath. He's also one of the most underrated dudes. Dave Hicks is a legend. Okay, right, I'm going to blow smoke up Tim Talmadge's ass a little bit here. Because Tim Talmadge is Tim is one of those dudes that don't really get much recognition.
That a boy, Tim. That a boy,
Not
Tim.
for real, though. He's a lot better than you think he is.
He's not better than I think.
The guys in the know,
I think he's the
kind
man.
of know, but the guys outside the know don't know. And you're like, that guy? Yeah, that guy. Have you ever pulled him? No, but well, you should try because he's badass. And to be fair to Tim, and I'm not stato in here, but I know that quietly he's been cracking people at all the East versus West qualifiers. And he comes to Arm Wars, and we know he's a bad dude. That's why he comes. He's a bad dude. Ray Lipin's a bit like that. Ray Lipin's better than you think he is.
Ray's very good.
Ray's a bad dude. Ray, if you're sleeping on Ray a little bit, he will mess you up.
I don't think people realize how big Ray's hand is either for his size.
Mate.
That dude's got a catcher's mitt. And
there are a number of arm wrestlers that are that guy. You know, that they're way better than you think. I mean, if I had to sit here and pour your heart out about the amazing arm wrestlers that don't get any recognition and people don't think they're that good and have never heard of them, I could write you a very long list. There's a guy, he's dead now, unfortunately. His name was Gennady Fadzinov.
Oh, Fadzinov.
And don't even know what to say. May have been the best hook puller of all time. Fucking unbelievable.
And just go back to Dave Hicks for a minute. Do you know he was like 40 years old when he started arm wrestling?
Dude, Dave.
Wow.
Amazing. Amazing. I mean, even when he's 175 years old, he's still mega. And he's like, what is he now? Like 210 years old?
Just turned 80 this year or last year. He'll be 81.
Dave could have doubled that medal count if he wanted to.
They actually said at Worlds, was talking to somebody, I think Chris from Canada, one of the referees, that they wanted to give him like the Lifelong Achievement Award because he's done something that probably can never be done before. I don't know what it was. It was something like he's reffed like 40 straight world championships or some shit like that across like 4 decades or something.
Yeah. The man is awesome. And if you don't know Dave Hicks, anybody in the chat, anybody watching the show, what a tremendous bloke.
Yeah, he's a sweetheart.
Yeah. Do you remember the story, Neil, of when he went to the Golden Bear and he had dominated it for several years, and then they snuck the Crush and Russian into his class?
They snuck him in there.
He did not make weight. He was clearly too heavy, and Dave beat him anyway. Didn't complain, just won the tournament.
I'm telling you, Dave Hicks, what a guy. Mega. There's guys, there's so many guys who've just formed the fabric of the sport for so many years. And some of them seriously, I mean, one of the guys that I used to absolutely marvel at his accomplishments what about Vern Martel?
Oh yeah, the one-armed bandit? Yes.
But think about what that guy achieved. And think about how good Vern was with that kind of disability. You know what I mean? That was no joke what that guy had to contend with. And yet, another guy that's got overflowing positivity. He's into the fibre of the sport like as much as anybody ever to do it. I absolutely love him. What a guy.
Completely agree. Like,
Yeah.
Can someone make a
he's a legend.
Can someone comment on this from CBLA? The old guard at Arm Wrestling Council like this are usually biased towards the Brzezinski name, saying stuff like 30-year dominance when the unbiased approach is John was dominant for 14 years and lost many. And, you know,
no shit, everybody loses.
Right.
Number one, who wrote that?
It's CBLA. I don't know if it's a troll or whatever, but
no, probably CBLA. To be fair, he's a fan. He comes on. I see him on a lot of stuff. Fair enough. So he may or may not be. For a start, the unbiased thing. It's nothing to do with unbiased. It's to do with the facts. John Brzezinski, if you make all the viable considerations, was phenomenal on anybody's measure. If you make if you want facts. Because CBLA is driving here at the let's talk about facts. Well, okay, let's talk about facts. I would sit down with you, brother, and have a beer, and you can throw any facts you want at me that you may have heard, think be the truths. And I will definitely, confidently say I can dispel myth and put fact where myth is now. And on any measure, John Brzezinski is a fucking savage.
Well, I mean, if you want to look at fact, what was it? 80 in the mid 80s, he was winning. He won over the top, and what year was over the top again? 86. So he won over the top in 86, which was at what, 19 years old. Okay, in the 90s he was dominant. Mid 2000, I mean, look at 2000s. I mean, okay, let's look at the mid 2000s. He was beating absolute killers in the mid 2000s as well. I mean, he was beating Saplinkov and all these people. So, I mean, that's 3 decades right there.
Mate, if you take a 30-year-old John Brzezinski, you take a prime middleweight John Brzezinski and put him in the same weight division of East versus West today,
he's killing everybody.
He will go through that weight class like the Vikings through York, motherfucker. And I am telling you, that is the facts. When he went there beat to shit with labrum detached, knackered, busted up, he still smacked the piss out of a lot of the best guys. Then, never mind when he was a prime version. Never mind that guy.
I mean, 95
when John showed up when he was right. Don't even talk, mate.
All you got to do is look at his matches at 95 and 105 at East versus West against Irakli and Ungarbayev, and like, just think about him healthy. 20 years younger. It's just mental.
John. You know what I mean? That isn't even John.
That's what I'm saying. 20 years prior, even a 40-year-old John is just running over everybody.
Oh my God. John, when he's weighing like under 100 kilo, contesting matches with a prime Richard Lutkus.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck. Yeah. You know, literally when he was weighing 85 and 90 kilos. I mean, you know, he contesting matches when he was under 100 kilos with people like Alan Karayev. I mean, a lot of, I don't know whether CBLA knows the existence of these guys and knows the level of those guys. But if you do, mate, and believe me, this isn't personal. I don't know. You might be you might be all over your arm wrestling, but I can tell you, there's a reason why for all those decades that John is talked about, every single arm wrestler that has real experience of arm wrestling the guy and of arm wrestling the guys that he schooled, all tip their hat to him. To a man, every one of us. And it's because he was the best. The absolute best.
You can't go off his latest
on that for a second? And you three probably saw the match. Neil, you were at this particular event. One of the matches that stick out in my head with John, and it's his demeanor. So to answer that comment was, you remember that tournament where he pulled Usmanov, right? And Usmanov beat him in the hook, and all of a sudden John's like, okay. And all of a sudden John got real. When he gets this serious face, and he went into a hook, and I'm telling you, he burned him out, and then he ended up with a press, and that right there explains to me what John Brzezink's all about, right? He sat there and told people, "I heard he had the best hook. I want to test it." Point blank, John beat him in the preliminaries. Then it got down to the finals with him and Usmanov. Usmanov beat him, so now it's 1-1. And then John just kind of went, "Okay, fine, give me some water. Okay, let's go." Back when John had his, braces or whatever, and he put that elbow on there and he dove right into the hook and he beat him in there regardless. And for me, and I think you were there, Neil. And to me, explain that one, Neil. Go ahead.
Well, in the afternoon, I think it was 2006, and the afternoon, John cruised to victory, ran over everybody. He top rolled Farid, then Farid Usmanov, now Farid Osmanli, but he top rolled him with ease. We went to the finals. John was super relaxed, pretty much took his foot off the gas, thought he had it in the bag. Farid was very, very strong then, absolute prime version. Put the match into a hook, managed to beat John in the hook. That is a fact. He just beat him. John had the opportunity to look at another way to victory, which was the top roll, and would have done it and could have done it with ease. He turned around. He said, "Neil, how much is there between first and second?" Said, "I don't know. I'll check." We went over to you'll probably hear it if you watch the match back. I went over to the desk. I told John how much. John turned around and went, "Farid." Oh, Farid's like, "Yeah." Went straight back in the hook. It was like $200 difference or something, first and second place. John just said, "Yeah, let's go." And John arm wrestled for money. That's what he did. I mean, make no mistake about it. They went in the hook. It was an incredible match, and John won the match. And it was fantastic to watch. It did say everything about John, but John's always been like that. I mean, Ryan, you remember Dima Kochev at the WAF?
I think
you
so.
Remember Dima?
Yeah.
110-kilo world champion, killing people. When he was at his peak, one of those guys that comes out of nowhere and he's just an absolute fire through bushes. And John pulled him in Poland. But what was most interesting was after the match, John was pulling everybody on the practice table, just toying with him. And he did the same with Dima, just toying with him, just playing with him, letting him anywhere. And I've seen John do that so many times. I'm not one of the guys that buys into that, John was invincible, was dominated, could dominate anyone. John lost a number of times, but he was very present and arm wrestled more than other people against anyone, anywhere, anytime. And if you're talking about losses in tournament, then yeah, he got some losses. If you're talking about arm wrestling super matches, yeah, John did not lose. You went one-on-one with John, you got your ass handed to you. The first person to beat John one-on-one was Devon Larratt at Arm Wars Deepwater in Thurrock, Essex, England.
Come here. Turn around.
Yep, gents.
No.
I got to run.
Come here.
You got to take off, buddy.
I do.
Hey.
See you guys another week. I assume that you'll have another amazing topic for us, Jody.
Of course. I'm digging around. You know what I do, right? That's what I do is dig around for topics, right?
Yeah.
Mate, it's a super engaging topic, isn't it?
Actually, you know what, guys? I will be flying to Mexico on this. Well, no. I'll be around Monday.
Monday.
Day later.
What's that down there?
The beach, food, and drinks. That's it.
There you go.
Can't complain.
All right. So long,
Later.
Take
everybody.
care, my friend.
I would say one of my favorite matches watching with John was UAL 8, 2013-14.
Oh, I've lost Tim.
Oh, I'm still here.
Guys, can you still hear me? I can't hear Tim.
I can hear. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
I can hear you. Well, I can't hear Tim at all.
Uh-oh.
Tim was saying he liked UAL 8 with John.
Is that better?
Okay. Shall I jump out and come back in?
No, it's
Yeah,
just Tim.
Yeah.
Jordy,
Tim, jump out, come back in.
Yeah.
can you hear me, Jordy?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, I can't hear Jordy or Tim. I'll jump out and come back in.
Can you hear
Okay.
me, Neil?
Yes.
No, he can hear me, but he can't hear y'all.
Oh, what?
All right, well,
Yeah.
he's jumping out and jump back in.
I'll go out, come back in.
Okay. This is great stuff, ain't it?
Mm-hmm.
What's up? I can hear you.
Oh,
I can hear you
I
too.
was just saying, man.
Hold on, just wait. He's coming back in. There we go.
Hopefully that works.
Are you there?
I think it worked.
I can hear you now.
There you
He's
go.
loaded. He's buffering.
One of my favorite matches when I was like 10 feet away was UAL 8 with John and Michael.
Where are you going, buddy?
So good. So good.
Yeah. But Michael was strong as fuck then.
So strong. It was just all patience, and if you actually just sit there and slow it down and watch John's eyes and how he's watching Michael's body and arm movements and every little thing that Michael does, he just counters it a little bit at a time before he just does that big surge because he knows right where Michael needed to be for it. It was so technical. It was great to watch.
Yeah, it's fantastic arm wrestler.
Even his setup.
There, you know the backstory there? They all ganged up on Mike that day. You know that, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, was it like John and Cataract all? Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah.
And Michael was not happy about that.
I will tell you
Mike was probably the best guy in the building that day.
Oh, yeah. I'll tell you what, that tournament specifically was one of the craziest things I've ever seen in my life. And that was Chris Chandler weighing 268 pounds and like 40 hours later making 225s. And then by the time that he arm wrestled, he was back to 260. I ain't never seen a thing. We go out to dinner and this dude eats like 94 meals and still eats when he gets back. And I said, how can you physically put on 40 pounds in 24 hours?
It's unbelievable.
It's all going to your gut.
I've never seen such a thing.
It's unbelievable.
I was like, you're making 225? Like, motherfucker, I'm struggling to cut 4 fucking pounds.
Well, look at Tony. Remember Tony Katowski cutting all that weight for Wall? Tony was cutting north of 30 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think
Todzilla used to do a little bit of weight cut back in the day, didn't he?
I don't think he put on 30 by 20 hours later, though.
Where's he on your Mount Rushmore?
You'd have to have 2 separate ones. I mean, because, you know, if we had a Mount Rushmore in North Dakota, then I go, oh, okay, I go Dave Patton, I go Devin Larratt, I go Gary Goodrich, and then it's tough.
I think I mean it's hard with Todd, but I do think he's in trouble coming up in 27 days, 26 days.
You think so?
Yes, sir.
I mean, I don't know if Neil can give us any insight on that, but man, you know, I'm waiting for that show.
I love the match.
Yeah,
I mean, you'd have to say Petrenko's the favorite.
I'm ready.
Yeah, I think Petrenko is the favorite.
Yeah, you'd have to think that Petrenko's the favorite, but I mean, I love Todd. So I like to see Todd get something out of that match. You know, I'm going to say, you know, if it comes down to who do you want to see win, I love.
I want to see
Todd.
I want to see Todd win, but I do see Petrenko just stylistically and what he's capable of doing. Because I mean, he's not a traditional top roller. Petrenko isn't. He's a very hand-controlled side pressure top roller, which is going to give Todd problems getting him out of his lane with that, you know, his Todd roller hook. So,
well, he's got so much. He's got so many options, and he's so complete, and he's so powerful. He's so powerful. You know, and let's be honest, he's prime and he's young and he's so many options. He should win the match. But Todd has a way of burning. If Todd can draw him into a very long, drawn-out match, then you never do know.
that's true.
You never do know.
It's like to me, it's like a 70-30 Petrenko to Hutchings. I think that's a fair assessment. For me, at least. I mean, I hope Todd wins.
Do you think Devin's got a chance left?
There's lanes. There is a lane, but I have Vitaly as the favorite. I actually have Devin as the favorite. I have Vitaly as a slight favorite left-handed, and I actually have it as a 50-50 match right-handed. Believe it or not. because they both have lanes in which they can win. I think Devin has to turn it into an endurance battle in order to win the
And this is
match.
the
In my
left or
opinion,
right hand? The first one.
the left. I
Okay.
think Dev has to turn it into an endurance fight. I think explosivity from center table to the A side is going to go to Vitali. But if Dev can hang him up and turn it into a death match, he can win the match. But
So here's a question.
I have it 65-35.
So at what point, like if you take the Devin Levon part 2 match 1, where Devin froze Levon at the center of the table, at some point you got to start moving somewhere. I think Devin might have burned himself out match 1 with that, just kind of hold them steady, but then Levon slowly transitioned to the press. You probably can't do that with someone with a longer lever like Vitali, in my opinion. Oh, they have to go. Oh, Neil, I mean your expertise on that, if you can give us one.
So in the Devon Levon match or Levin match, I think that the issue for Dev was that he didn't move. He remained static. He sort of got a little bit of holy shit, I've done it, rabbit in the headlights. Mm-hmm. He didn't advance, and when Levin attacked, he went through the elastic limit of Devon's arm. Now, why the rest of the matches from that point forward, the rest of the victories from that point forward don't impress me much is because if you fail someone's through the elastic limit of their arm, that's it.
Yeah.
It's done. And it doesn't matter then. You've done that much damage. It's over. Absolutely over. Once you go through the elastic limit of the arm.
Uh-oh.
He just went through his limit of his data in the UK.
He went through his Wi-Fi limit.
Wi-Fi in the UK.
I still think stylistically, Vitali causes more issues for Devin than Levon does. Because Levon is very statically strong. I'm not saying he's not explosive, but here he's extremely static, right? And then he just knows he's stronger and can go through the motion. Whereas Vitali is extremely dynamic to the side, which is going to cause issues for Devin going that way, in my opinion.
I'm going to go ahead and change it up and say hello to Cobra Rhodes in the chat. What up, Cobra?
Oh, I saw that. Cobra said he was natural his whole career. So.
Cobra's in the chat. My man Jamie Sheldon was in the chat. We got some awesome. They're all in the chat. Look at that. See that?
Got you, Jamie.
There you go. My man. I do think that, when we get to a certain point, and you said you had Devin's going to make an endurance battle. At some point, right. He's never going to outpower a lot of people because of his frame and stuff, especially in that weight category, in the open category.
I mean, he's got a huge frame though. He's 6'5", long arms. Like he's a big guy. Like Devin's huge, especially when he's 300 pounds. The man is not little. So, and that's the thing too, is he going to come in to this match 300 plus pounds, or is he going to come in 285, 290? What is this? Schoolboy, is he controlling or not? I mean, here's the thing. So those videos, context, right? There's so unfortunately with arm wrestling, so much context is left out. We don't know that Vitali might have trained for 3 hours prior to getting on the table with Schoolboy. We don't know if he'd have had a 2-hour session prior. It's like, oh, I beat this person at a tournament. Okay, but they had a 45-second war 1 minute before I beat them. Context, people.
Well, I'll also say, Schoolboy is not going against his fellow countryman. And
no,
people will play the game that Devin plays back to him for a reason. And people are starting to do those things. So that's all I'll say about that.
Well, also
No,
you
you're
got to
absolutely
think
right.
people. It gives all these people that have YouTube channels that like to steal other people's content and
Uh-oh.
talk about it and be like, "Oh, look, it gets their jollies all hard." Like, "Oh my God, did you see this?" It's like, shut the fuck up. Find something better to talk about.
You can
No, I
win.
mean,
You can win awards that way.
yeah, I mean, that's true.
Shut up, Tim.
All right. Last comment before we go to After Dark Special. CBLA says, I think Devin has a destiny. May sound foolish, but I think he wins both or breaks himself trying. Devin has the ability to surpass mental blocks and push his limits. We all know that. There are reasons he was just G or JTF. Thoughts, concerns?
I
don't
mean,
know.
Devin's the type. Devin's Devin's the type that will fucking die on his sword. So it's not like it's beyond a reason to think he wouldn't break himself to win a match. So, I mean,
Oh,
I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah.
Like knowing Devin the way I do, he'll live by the sword and die by the sword. So
Right. No, I get that. Well, we've been on here for an hour and 20 some odd minutes. Y'all ready to go ahead and go do some After Dark?
yeah,
All right, everybody. Awesome show today. Special guest Neil Pickup. You got the Can-Am connection. Tim got one of the ultimate compliments this morning from Neil Pickup himself. So there you go. Thank you, everybody, for the chat. Everybody was in there. Even my uncle's in the chat today. Good old Cobra. My man, Sheldon, CBLA, Lucky, Aaron, Clifton Erickson. List goes on and on. You know,
I'm just gonna drink my
Christina,
water.
Bob Anderson. Too many of y'all to name, but everybody, yes, we're rolling.
we're also we fucked up. We got a little off topic today.
Oh wait,
Hopefully
we have
next week-
we have events. We have events coming up.
Next week we're gonna go over events. We fucked up.
Sorry, Jody's fault.
That was my fault, y'all. Sorry for bringing up the Hall of Fame. Sorry for throwing the link to Neil. He got on here, so I apologize.
We'll make
But
up for it next week.
Yeah, so next week we'll talk about events coming up in February, since today is February 2nd. Yes. Ooh, my birthday's coming up next week. Yes. I can't wait. Everybody, next week, February tournament. I know which one I'll be talking about.
February 7th, VAL. They're one tossed it out. Thank you for doing that, Lucky. That's one. We'll just go with that. That's the one you got for this week. We're going to give you the rest next week. Stay tuned.